Workplace narcissistic abuse can leave lasting emotional scars that can last for years, impacting not only your work life, but also your overall well-being. Recovering from such trauma, which is precisely what it is, it's trauma, requires dedicated effort and self-care. Having been subjected to workplace bullying myself and through helping dozens of people overcome it, in this video, I'm discussing 5 effective ways to begin your journey towards healing. I'm Jo Banks. I've been a professional executive business coach for 15 years, and I'm sharing what I know. In my previous video, I discussed the physical, mental, and behavioural impact of narcissistic bullying. If you haven't seen that, I suggest looking at it after finishing this video. Workplace narcissistic abuse. Workplace narcissistic abuse is a situation where an individual, not necessarily in a position of power, exploits and manipulates others for their own benefit. It involves emotional manipulation, gaslighting, constant criticism, turning others against you, and a pervasive sense of superiority. Recognizing this abuse is the initial step toward recovery. I've got a mini-series on narcissism in the workplace, which also outlines the narcissistic cycle of abuse. So if you want more information on how to identify narcissistic traits, understanding why bullies bully, plus advice and guidance on how to deal with it, I'll leave the links below. In this video, we're discussing narcissistic abuse recovery. First, I have to point out that the longer you stay in a narcissistic relationship, whether that's work-based or personal, the more your confidence, self-esteem, self-worth, etc. will become eroded. These are hallmarks of narcissistic abuse. They take great joy in stripping away those things. It seems too wild to be true, but bullies build themselves up by putting others down. They take great delight in persecuting others, especially those who are well-liked, professional, empathetic, happy. Everything they consciously or unconsciously believe they are not. When they find people like that, it's literally game on. In this video, I'm going to assume that you are now away from the abuser. If you're still dealing with a volatile situation, I recommend going back and watching those other videos where I describe how to deal with workplace bullying. Again, links will be below. Healing from narcissistic abuse and bullying. Number 1, acknowledge the abuse. Validate your experience. Firstly, acknowledging it for what it is critical. It's abuse, plain and simple. And I know some people don't like to see it as that because they don't want to be perceived as a victim. However, that's precisely what it is. It's abuse. And this is important to note. Emotionally mature, centered and mentally healthy individuals do not go about feeling the need to bully others and systematically try to destroy them. We tend to think that everybody is like us, but sadly, there's a small minority who are really not. It's also critical to accept that the abuse occurred in order for healing to happen. Gaslighting, manipulation, and the other tools used by the abuser might have made you doubt your own perceptions, but acknowledging what's happening or has happened is absolutely vital. Educate yourself. Learn about narcissistic behaviour and abuse tactics. Understanding these patterns can help in healing and also in preventing future encounters. Just this week, I was working with a new client desperately trying to understand what was happening in a personal relationship. It wasn't until I went through the narcissistic cycle of abuse, the traits of a narcissist and who their victims tend to be, and also the devastating effects of trauma bonding, that the proverbial light went off. He, like many of us, especially those of us who haven't come across this type of behaviour before, had no idea that this is a particular personality type that has a set MO for how they think and behave. If you don't know this, their gaslighting and manipulation will work because it's so out of the realm of what we're used to, unless you've been brought up in a narcissistic household, in which case that behaviour will feel really familiar. It will feel like home. Education is also critical because, unfortunately, once you've been subjected to narcissistic bullying or any kind of bullying or abuse, unless you educate yourself so that you're aware of the red flags and what to look out for, it can happen again. In fact, some of you have said as much in the comments section of some of my videos. I read a statement a few years ago that really stuck with me. Narcissists can easily spot someone whom another narcissist has primed. If you haven't done the work to heal, you're easy pickings for a future narcissist. So identifying the red flags, building your resilience, and healing those wounds are crucial in preventing potential future attacks. There is so much information out there now on narcissism. I've obviously got videos on it, and links will be below. Dr. Ramani Durvasula here on YouTube is a fantastic resource. She has a whole channel dedicated to it, and I highly recommend her books too. She's also big on social media platforms such as Instagram, and she puts the most amazing content out there completely free. So definitely check her out. Next, we have self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness. Understand that nobody deserves abuse, and being compassionate towards yourself is crucial for healing. When I start working with someone who's gone through a horrible time with a narcissist, typically their first instinct is to start to beat themselves up, thinking, I should have known, or I should have seen what was happening. I should have known better. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But why? Why should you know? Unless you've educated yourself and come across this personality type before, you would never know that these types of people are at large. Of course, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Even then, though, it can happen again. It's important to remember that these people hide in plain sight. Usually they aren't mean and cruel to begin with, because that just wouldn't work for them. Their abuse is slow and insidious and highly, highly manipulative. They are experts at it. After all, they've been doing this type of behavior their entire lives. So, have some self-compassion. If you knew better, you'd have done better. And awareness is everything. You cannot change what you're not aware of. Number 2, seek support and guidance. Consider seeking professional help. Therapy provides a safe place to process emotions, regain self-worth, and develop coping strategies. However, one huge caveat here is that if you're going to go to therapy, please make sure that the therapist is trained in narcissism and trauma. Many are not, even if they say they are. I know, because I train therapists on narcissism. Without that basic understanding of narcissism and trauma, therapy can do more harm than good. I'm not trying to put you off here. I'm just really spelling out the pitfalls. I know from personal experience of a therapist telling me that they knew about narcissism and telling me they knew about trauma, when actually, when we got down to the nitty-gritty, they definitely didn't. So I want to ensure that you're asking the right questions and getting the right therapist and the right help for you. I know we're not talking about personal relationships here, but be aware if your partner is the narcissist and agrees to therapy. They will not likely be doing it for your benefit, but rather theirs. They're going to agree to it during a hoover phase of the narcissistic cycle of abuse when they think they're going to lose you if they don't do something drastic. If the therapist is not aware of narcissism, your narcissist will tie them up in knots and you'll come out looking like the bad person. Just a word of caution there. Coaching. Helping individuals overcome narcissistic abuse, especially in the workplace, is a speciality of mine. I've been studying narcissism in depth for 15 years and am therefore pretty well versed in it. Again, if you're seeking a coach or if your organisation offers you coaching and you've a range of coaches to choose from, speak to them, ensure that they're well versed in helping people overcome bullying and narcissistic abuse. Sadly, many are not. Support networks. Connect with supportive friends, family, or support groups. Sharing experiences with empathetic individuals can be validating and aid in your recovery. Just one thing to note on this one, though. Many people do not understand about narcissistic abuse, so they might urge you to do something inappropriate given your circumstances. Others will always see your problems through their lens. So if you get advice from others, albeit well-meaning, and it doesn't feel right, you don't have to take it. Go with your gut feeling. Number 3, embrace healing activities. Creative outlets. Engage in activities that bring you joy and foster creativity. Painting, writing, music, or any form of artistic expression can really aid in healing. When we've been through abuse, as I've mentioned in the previous video, we can often go into what we call survival mode. We literally shut down, entering what's called functional freeze, which is the freeze aspect of the fight, flight, freeze stress response. For many of us, that involves what we call numbing activities, such as excessive social media scrolling, binge eating, alcohol, drugs, shopping, Netflix binging, online gaming, gambling, etc. Now, a little of those things is good for us, gives our brain a break. However, it's a big red flag when those things take over your life. If restarting an old hobby or even embarking on a new one feels too overwhelming, I recommend starting with the 10-minute happiness challenge. Find something you enjoy or you used to enjoy and do it for just 10 minutes a day. That's all. We don't want to overwhelm your nervous system and you end up self-sabotaging, but you must do something every day. Schedule it in your diary as you would any other important meeting. You might choose to do something different every day and you very well may run over 10 minutes. That's okay. Hobbies where you become so absorbed that you don't notice the time passing are brilliant for this. When this happens, we call it being in flow, and it's massively beneficial for our nervous system. It helps return it to homeostasis, which is baseline. Rebuild social connections. We also tend to self-isolate when we're under threat, i.e., going through abuse. As our homes are often the safest place, we stop doing all our usual hobbies and interests. We stop going out to meet friends and family, preferring the safety of our homes and solitude. So it's essential to break out of that habit slowly and safely. Even if it feels a little bit daunting or overwhelming, start small. Arrange a coffee or a quick lunch with a trusted friend or family member. When we're with people who care about us, we release oxytocin, the love hormone. When we're low on oxytocin, the symptoms can include low mood, anxiety, lethargy, and even depression. We are tribal animals, and being around other people is critical for our psychological as well as our physical safety. Many people aren't aware of that. So if you're watching this and you live and work on your own, it's absolutely critical that you spend some time around others, even if it's just 5 minutes a day in a coffee shop, makes a massive difference. Number 4, self-care activities. Weaving self-care activities into your daily or weekly routine is really important. I've discussed the following things and more in detail in my video number 41, 5 simple, easy to use, science-backed tools to build mental toughness and manage stress. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but these things have a hugely positive impact on our physical and mental health. First, we have meditation, self-hypnosis, and NSDR. NSDR is non-sleep deep rest. These practices are powerful tools for managing stress and anxiety, especially in the long term. At their core, these techniques focus on being present in the moment, cultivating awareness, and training the mind to observe thoughts and feelings without judgment. There are so many clinical studies on the benefits of these practices that it's really hard to ignore. Journaling and expressive writing. Both journaling and expressive writing can be a really therapeutic outlet for managing stress and anxiety. Journaling allows you to express your thoughts, emotions, and concerns, helping to declutter the mind and gain perspective on challenging situations. So how does it work? Well, we can't process difficult things when they're stuck in our heads. It's impossible. So talking to someone about our problems is a really great way. But if that's not an option, writing them down is clinically proven to have massive beneficial effects. And again, more details on that in a previous video. Link will be below. Exercise. I can't even begin to explain all the benefits of exercise on our mental health. And it doesn't have to be flogging it out in the gym for hours on end. I've spoken previously about the many benefits of the 15-minute walk. In just 15 minutes, we burn off adrenaline and cortisol, which are the stress hormones that flood your body when you're being abused and when you're feeling very stressed. That walk also releases happy hormones, dopamine and endorphins. It also helps regulate your sleep-wake cycle if you walk in the day because it regulates our serotonin. And it also helps us to overcome the feeling of overwhelm. Again, I discussed that in far more details in a previous video. Many people will tell me that they don't have time to exercise. Everyone, I don't care who you are or how busy you are, can find 15 minutes. Schedule it in your diary as you would any other important meeting because it is that important. Other tools: breath work, mindfulness, EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, or tapping, havening, EMDR are all brilliant tools to help regulate your nervous system. Apart from EMDR, which I haven't tried yet, but I believe it's wonderful, I use the other tools really frequently, depending on what's happening in my life, the problem that I'm working through, and the results that I want. Focus on career recovery. Evaluate options. Assess if staying in the current workplace is feasible or if a change is necessary for your well-being. However, it's important to remember that we take ourselves with us wherever we go. So healing and self-care are critical first steps to moving on, whether that's within your current organization or not. Without taking time to rebuild your confidence and self-worth, which all the tools I've just talked about will help you with, simply moving on from one job to another or one organization to another will not necessarily solve your problems. I see it frequently when people are so desperate to leave their current situation that they leap out of the frying pan and into the fire. They also rarely take time to reflect on what they want from their next job, and that's also critical. I have a free mini online course that can help you evaluate what you want from your job. It's called Get Clear. I'll leave the details below. Skill enhancement. Consider acquiring new skills or certifications to enhance your professional profile. This can empower you in your career transition. Read books. I read and listen to at least 2 self-development books a month and have done for many years. Listen to podcasts and sign up for free webinars and courses, in person or virtual, and use YouTube. Oh my goodness, more than any other time in history, our ability to learn new things is literally at our fingertips. Learning new skills, whether they're related to your job or not, is another excellent way to build your confidence and self-esteem. The wrap-up. Recovering from workplace narcissistic abuse is a challenging journey that requires patience and self-compassion. It's crucial to prioritize your physical and mental health, seek support, and gradually rebuild your confidence. Remember, healing takes time, but you can emerge stronger and more resilient with dedication and support. I'm not saying it's always easy. It does take consistent work, but you can do this. If I can, you can too. What next? If you've experienced this type of abuse and have any words of wisdom you feel comfortable sharing, please leave them in the comments section below. Again, I love interacting with you all and really value your feedback. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a thing. I've got so much more planned for you guys in the coming weeks. And if there's anything in particular you'd like me to cover, again, leave it below. I read everything. Finally, when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to start doing live Q&A sessions to answer all your burning questions. Finally, as always, a huge thank you to everybody who stays until the very end. And thank you so much for your continued support. It really does mean the world to me.